needless to say, they were significantly weakened after that, both in numbers and even just like from a moral standpoint. Because it was like, hey, they got this military victory over Israel, but guess what? Their God is still wreaking havoc upon us after the fact. So clearly we are not greater than their God, which has got to be a bit deflating. What's up, cool people? My name is Matt. Welcome back to our Bible study. So we're looking at 1 Samuel chapter 5 here. At this point, especially in the last chapter, Eli's sons died. Then Eli himself died when he heard the news, especially that the Ark of the Covenant was also lost to the Philistines. And then the wife of Eli's one son also died in childbirth, but before she died, she was still able to name her son, and basically she named him after the idea that all sorts of glory or whatever had been lost from Israel due to all of these recent events. And so yeah, that's where we are for chapter 5 here. Alrighty, so here we go. 1 Samuel chapter 5. After the Philistines captured the Ark of God, they took it from the battleground at Ebenezer to the town of Ashdod. They carried the Ark of God into the temple of Dagon and placed it beside an idol of Dagon. But when the citizens of Ashdod went to see it the next morning, Dagon had fallen with his face to the ground in front of the Ark of the Lord. So they took Dagon and put him in his place again. But the next morning the same thing happened. Dagon had fallen face down before the Ark of the Lord again. This time his head and hands had broken off and were lying in the doorway. Only the trunk of his body was left intact. That is why to this day, neither the priests of Dagon nor anyone who enters the temple of Dagon in Ashdod will step on its threshold. I guess because the head and hands had broken off and were in the doorway? But yeah, so there's maybe been another time, but I'm pretty sure there will be other times later on in the Bible where other people wind up having possession of the Ark of the Covenant, and weird/bad things happen to them, and or, their idols and basically symbols of their gods. So, yeah, and really, all that just kind of goes to show, or at least is meant to show in these, verses throughout the Bible, that, God has a bigger influence on, what's going on in a particular area than any other of the deities that other people groups worshipped. So, yeah, now it doesn't say that the Philistines have gotten rid of the Ark of the Covenant as of yet, because I guess this had all just happened, but it just says that it was an idol of Dagon. It doesn't say what it was made of. You would assume it wasn't metal if it broke like that. Probably stone would be my guess. Maybe wood. But either way, the fact of the matter is, the sheer influence of the Ark of the Covenant being there, caused the idol of Dagon to fall over and, at least the second time, then break. So, yeah, power of God on display for the Philistines here. And now we get to verse 6. Then the Lord's heavy hand struck the people of Ashdod and the nearby villages with a plague of tumors. When the people realized what was happening, they cried out, "We can't keep the ark of the God of Israel here any longer. He is against us. We will all be destroyed, along with Dagon, our god." So they called together the rulers of the Philistine towns and asked, "What should we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" The rulers discussed it and replied, "Move it to the town of Gath." So they moved the ark of the God of Israel to Gath. But when the ark arrived at Gath, the Lord's heavy hand fell on its men, young and old. He struck them with a plague of tumors, and there was a great panic. Okay, so more bad stuff happening, not just to the idols now, but to the people. So, but in both towns where the Ark of the Covenant has wound up now, God has struck the people with tumors. Now let me look at the footnote there. That's the Greek version in Latin Vulgate. Read tumors. They also say, "And rats appeared in their land, and death and destruction were throughout the city." So, certain texts that would be used to form the translations here might have all that other stuff included, but not all of them do. So sometimes it's sort of a judgment call on the translator's parts whether or not to include those particular phrases. But point being, lots of bad stuff happening to the point where people were dying. I mean, the tumors part is at least reminiscent of what happened in Egypt, although that was more so boils than tumors, I guess. But anyway, still, again, main point, bad stuff happening. So the people of Ashdod are like, nope, this is clearly because the ark of Israel's God is here. Their God is against us. We need to get this out of here. So then they move it to a different town. But then bad stuff happens in that town too. The same bad stuff that was happening in Ashdod. And presumably it's happening because, well, A, these are Philistines and not Israelites. They're not God's chosen people. But also because, the ark wasn't where it was supposed to be. Yeah, exactly. They were passing the buck along to the next town because they were getting nothing but bad things from having it there. So anyway, then after this stuff happens in Gath, we get to verse 10. So they sent the ark of God to the town of Ekron. But when the people of Ekron saw it coming, they cried out, "They are bringing the ark of the God of Israel here to kill us too." The people summoned the Philistine rulers again and begged them, "Please send the ark of the God of Israel back to its own country, or it will kill us all." For the deadly plague from God had already begun, and great fear was sweeping across the town. Those who didn't die were afflicted with tumors, and the cry from the town rose to heaven. So, they try to move it along to a third town, but they're like, no. We've heard what's happening with this. We don't want it here. Get it away. So it's become like a hot potato kind of situation now. And eventually, after the third town winds up inflicted with tumors and death, they're like, nope, let's just send it back to where it belongs. It's too much trouble. It clearly is bad for us Philistines in general, so get it out of here. Footnote that it just says he, so he being God in that case, or, Israel's God, because it was the ark of his covenant. So yeah, it's just it's funny, kind of, because, like, it's not us, but yeah, I cannot imagine the level of panic that would have been sweeping through the Philistines at that point. So, yeah, needless to say, they were significantly weakened after that, both in numbers and even just, like, from a moral standpoint. Because it was like, hey, they got this military victory over Israel, but, guess what? Their God is still wreaking havoc upon us after the fact. So, clearly we are not greater than their God, which has got to be a bit deflating. But anyway, yeah, short chapter, kind of short explanation. I don't really have too many other thoughts on that, so that'll do it for 1 Samuel chapter 5. So, I mean, I realized it was misfortune falling upon the Philistines this whole time, but I still find it kind of amusing, honestly. Like, the fact that they thought they were, you know, all big and powerful and impressive, and then they get the Ark of the Covenant in their possession, whatever. Put in position under their possession. And then, yeah, all this just crazy stuff happens with it making their idols fall down and break, and then they get all this plague-like stuff happening to them. Like, this kind of stuff is how word spread about, you know, the power of the Lord. And then just people talking about these kinds of things with other people groups, and like, this kind of stuff is why the Philistines were afraid in the last chapter when they brought the Ark of the Covenant. Because they figured something terrible, similar to this, would happen to them then. But no, God finds a way to dish out punishment upon his own people and the Philistines basically at the same time. Because it's God we're talking about. But anyway, so yeah. As always, like and share if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell if you're on YouTube to get updates when I post new videos. If you're seeing me anywhere else, feel free to give me a follow or whatever you need to keep up with my activity on there. Look down in the description for info on other social media pages and basically all the places where you can find me and keep up with what I'm doing. And of course, leave your thoughts down in the comment section with any thoughts you have. And I said thoughts in that sentence twice there, didn't I? Oh well, go down to the comments and let me know what you think. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you soon for another video. Whatever the case is, till next time, stay cool, people.